Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with another video. Today is actually a bonus video for my Craftmas that I'm doing this year. And today I will be talking about 18 knitting patterns that are perfect for some last minute knitting to add a little bit of a festive touch to your holiday outfits. Before starting off this video, I would like to quickly mention the sweater that I'm wearing, because this one is actually still on sale for the release. So you can get 24% off the pattern on my Ravelry, Etsy and my Payhip, and you don't need to use a code. So this is actually the Holly Harvest sweater. Of course I named it the Holly Harvest sweater because I kind of knit this around the fall, but also the beginning of course the festive season. So I think it's a very nice sweater to knit for exactly that. This is a circular colorwork yoke with, I think, yeah, very festive but mostly floral based colorwork. Most of the colorwork is 2-stranded, but there are a couple of rows that are 3-stranded colorwork. Then it has a little bit of a split hem at the bottom, and all of the ribbing has 3x1 ribbing, and then the neckline has a really fun like pointel or like scalloped edge at the top. And then it also has a bishop sleeve like this, so it flares out and then has a little bit of colorwork there as well. So if you're interested, the sweater will be linked down below, and I personally really love it. So if you're up for some last minute big time knitting, then this one is definitely for you. Now for the patterns that I've chosen for this video, I think one of the first things that I personally think about for like a quick little knit for a festive outfit are some hair accessories. I personally really enjoy wearing headbands, and Augustins knitwear actually has two really wonderful patterns for exactly that. So she has the Augustins number 6, which is a little bit more of a flat headband. That one is knit on 2.5mm needles with New Zealand lamb's wool. You can either use magic loop or double pointed needles. And I think this one is really fun and a little bit more subtle. You can also add a strand of like festive yarn, so something with a little bit of glitter or sparkle would be really nice. And I also really like that you can embroider these very easily. So you can do like flowers or something festive, or you can put beads on top of them. And then she has another pattern that is quite similar. This one is called the Ege Hairband, I think is how you would pronounce it. That one is also knit on 2.5mm needles. But this one is actually knit with 2 strands of mohair held together, and then she also has filled it with some kind of fiber fill or other type of material to make it like very puffy around the head. And I do think that is adjustable, although I'm not entirely sure, but this one is definitely more of a statement piece because of that. And then she also embroidered some pearls on top of it. Like I said, that is so fun to do, and I think that ultimately makes it so much more festive without a lot of work put into it. Then if a headband is not really your type of thing, a bow is also very cute, and that's also very trendy right now. Of course, I think you know the December bow by Petite Knit. That is a really nice garter stitch bow. I've never knit this myself, but I would definitely like to give this one a try. This one is knit with 3mm needles if you want to create a hair bow. And they say that for that it's better to use a thinner type of yarn, like for example a Bacca by Socks. And then you can attach a hair clip at the end, so you can put it on the back of your head, which is very cute. And then Augustins also has a hair bow pattern, which is the Augustins number 22. And the main difference is that the December bow by Petite Knit is garter stitch, and then the Augustins number 22 bow is actually stockinette stitch. So depending on what you're going for, that could also help. And then also the Augustins number 22, they actually fasten it in the hair with an elastic hairband, which I personally do find to be more comfortable than those big hair clips that bows usually have. And this one is knit in a round, so I do think that, like, coming from the knitting experience, they will be very similar, because one is garter stitch and then the one is stockinette in a round. So they're both pretty mindless, I would say. And then the final thing that you can knit for your hair as a little accessory is a scrunchie. So the first scrunchie that I've picked out is the Odas Blondescrunchie by Emilie Collar, I think is how I would pronounce her name. This one is knit with a lace weight and a fingering weight yarn held together on 3.5mm needles. And what I really love about this pattern specifically is that it comes in 3 sizes. So one size is for children, and then also a medium and a large size. And I personally really love like a frilly type of scrunchie. I feel like those are also very trendy right now, like very oversized and very frilly with lace and ruffles. And this is exactly that, and I would love to knit this one myself. I think I might, but I have to see if I have the time for it. Then there are some other options out there. For example, there's also the Bohemian Scrunchie 1, 2 and 3. And they're all by the same pattern designer, which I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of, because I think I'm going to butcher it. This one is knit with a light fingering weight yarn. This one uses Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair or Knitting for Olive pure silk on 3mm needles. Then for example the Bohemian Scrunchie 1, which is the one I'm talking about now, also comes in 3 sizes. The Bohemian Scrunchie 2, for me personally, it's not really my thing, but I do really also like the Bohemian Scrunchie 3. which is also knit on 3mm needles. And it also comes in 3 sizes and it's made with the same yarn. And I also think these are really fun and quick knits if you want to gift them to someone. And then the next pattern category is if you don't like wearing something in your hair, wear something around your neck instead. So firstly, I have a couple of scarves. The first one is the Thelma Scarf by Ingrid Dip, which I talked about recently because I really like this pattern. It's quite a thin and a narrow scarf, but it's also quite long. So you can still wrap it around your neck twice, which is very cozy. And something about that just makes it feel very classy. Especially if you made this in a very fun red color, I think it would be very festive. The suggested yarn is actually a cashmere yarn, which would make it so nice and luxurious, also for gift knitting, although I do think maybe that's a bit too late to make this. This one is made with a needle size 4mm and it comes in 1 size. Then another pattern that I like that is a little bit more delicate is the Augusta lace scarf by Belma Helms. And this one is a lot more lightweight because it's knit with 2 strands of mohair held together on 3mm needles. I feel like this one is also really cute to have on your bag as a little accessory. And it actually comes in 3 sizes, so a tiny scarf, a neck scarf and a headband as well. It has a very subtle lace stitch and I just think it's very cute and I would love to knit this one as well. Then the final scarf pattern that I have for you is the Minou Scarf. This one is by the Knitting Deer, I think is her name, although her designer name is Louisa. Yeah, let's just not pronounce the last name because that's usually the difficult one. This one is knit with a sport weight and a lace weight yarn held together on 4mm needles. Again, this one comes in 3 sizes, which is really great. So it comes in a headscarf, a scarf and a shawl. And if you really like this stitch pattern, she actually has multiple of these patterns. I think she has a top, then for sure a cardigan, maybe even a sweater nowadays. It's actually half fisherman's rib and cable stitch. So it is a little bit more intricate, but it is very beautiful. Then for the next category, I actually have 3 little collars that are really nice to wear. This is something that if you don't want to wear or knit a full-on Christmas sweater, I feel like this is a really fun and quick thing to just pop on anything. You can also wear this throughout the year, I feel like, and they're probably very quick to knit as well. So the first one that I've picked out is the Emilie Collar by Gregoria Fibers. This one is knit on 4mm needles with a DK weight yarn and then it comes in 2 sizes. What I really love about this collar specifically is actually the little drawstring that it has. I think it makes it very, I don't know, like Victorian looking. Then it also very ruffled. And I think like a lot of yarns actually this looks nice. When I looked at the Ravelry project photos from a lot of people, I just absolutely fell in love with this pattern. And I think this would be a really fun thing to wear. Then the next collar pattern that I really love is the Louie collar. This is by Cookie Co. This is knit on 6mm needles, so I think this one would be very quick to knit. Then it comes in 1 size, and I really like from this one specifically is that it has a lot of combination of different stitches. So there is some garter stitch, some lace, then also something that is like textured or some kind of slip stitches. I'm not sure what it is, but it does look very interesting. And again, this one would be so quick on the 6mm needles. Like I think you could knit this in a day and just be done with it. And I think that's very nice if you're doing some last minute knitting. And then the final color that I really love, that has been on my favorites for so long. Probably have shared it before, but it's the Lila Collar by Thelma Scarf. This one is knit with a lace weight and a fingering weight yarn held together on 3.5mm needles and it comes in 1 size. If you've been here before, you know that I love bubbles. There's something about it that just makes me want to wear it, I guess. And that's why I also love this pattern specifically. This one has some type of twisted stitches at the top, so it's a little bit more plain and simple on the top. Then it goes into bubbles and lace, and I just think it's adorable. And I think that it's also because they made their sample in this red color, so that it ultimately looks very festive already. Then the next category is for someone that is more of a sock knitter. This would be really fun if you're, for example, wearing like little loafers or ballet flats. Then you could have a really nice and festive sock poking out. So the first sock pattern that I really love is actually one from my tech editor. She recently released this and it's very beautiful. This is basically a pattern for a basic stockinette pattern, and then every now and then she's going to add a little colorwork chart or like other little details that you can do, which is really fun, so you can kind of build your collection that way. So this pattern specifically is called the Bacca Socks, which is a very festive and kind of floral inspired colorwork motif. There are instructions in the pattern for either knitting it on the foot of the sock or on the cuff of the sock. Personally, I do think the cuff of the sock would be a little bit more easy to style for this purpose. Then it comes in 5 sizes, which is really great, and it's knit on 2.5mm needles with of course just a fingering weight sock yarn. And then the vanilla sock pattern can actually be downloaded for free. So if you're just looking for a nice vanilla sock pattern, I would definitely recommend checking that one out as well. And then the next sock pattern that I've picked out is actually a free pattern. This is called the Holly Christmas Socks. This one doesn't have a lot of information. I think it's mostly just the color work that is done. You could probably use this also for your own vanilla socks. But it's a really nice one that is with bubbles and like the holly leaves. So I think it's very cute. Knit on 2.5mm and 2.25mm needles with a fingering weight sock yarn. And they are just very cute and festive. And then the final category that I have for you are bags. And I think two of these I have shared before, but I felt like they deserved a mention again, because I of course looked at other patterns as well, but these ones still feel the most festive and classic and stylish to me, so I will be sharing them again. So the first one is the Bradshaw Bag by Emilie Collar. This one is knit with an air and weight yarn on 7mm needles. Like, just imagine how fast this is going to knit up. Then this one is actually felted, which makes the fabric really nice and compact. I do think with a knitted bag, there's of course always the issue of things stretching out. So if you're planning on making something like this, I personally would recommend lining it with a fabric, and then that is going to avoid the fabric stretching out. But of course, felting it is also a wonderful option like this. And I just think this would be a really fun accessory, and you can of course wear this to a Christmas holiday party or whatever festivities you're going to, but then also throughout the year I think this is still very wearable. And then the next one is very on trend, so this is the Carrie Me Bag by Wool & Beyond. And I'm saying this is very on trend because it has really big bows attached to it, which is very cute. This one is knit on 4mm needles with an air and weight yarn. And it's knit with brioche stitch, which I've never done, but that does seem very... Oh no, I have done brioche stitch. Never mind. But I think the construction of this bag is very interesting and I do really love it. I personally love the other one a little bit more, also because that one has a zipper attached to it. So it feels a little bit more durable and wearable. But this one is still like really amazing, and yeah, I just love this one. And then the final bag pattern is for someone that is very classy. So if you want to wear a clutch, which I think is very fancy, then I think this pattern is very nice. So this pattern is called the Tinos. This pattern is by Sandrine Maurice, who's also known as Timeless by S Designs. This is knit with a DK weight yarn on 4mm needles. And for the sizing they say unique, so I'm guessing that that means that you can make it any size that you want, kind of like made to measure or something. But what I really like about this pattern specifically is the basket weave that this one has. And I also like that it has the typical clutch closure like this. I think that makes it so much more elegant than like any other clutch closure. I think like in 2010 everybody had those little flap clutches, but this one is a lot more, yeah, like elegant, vintage looking, and I personally really like that. This could also be a really cute gift knit for someone, or just to store like yarn or little notions in. I think this one is a really fun knit. So those were all of the knitting patterns that I've chosen for this video. These are all perfect in my opinion for some last minute knitting, to add a little bit of a festive touch to your holidays, or just for gift knitting, etc. I also hope to see you in my next video, because I am doing crafty vlogs twice a week and I would love to see you there. For now, I wish you all a very happy day, happy knitting, bye bye!